Hi, Gabriel Jaramillo, Director of Healthy Communities with the Vitalist Health Foundation. And today we're here with Shay Jimenez with CUADRO. And we'll hear today about her team and her efforts to not only design but create and develop accessory dwelling units and deploy them in the Tucson area. Shay, thank you for joining us. Again, really excited about showing, from the ordinance part of it now to the implementation design phase and the work that you and CUADRO have been doing to help really make this ordinance come to life for families that are looking to develop these ADUs. I know you're going to give a presentation, so I'll hand it over to you, Shay, to introduce yourself and let us know about CUADRO.
Okay. Hi. Thank you so much, Gabriel and Sergio. Thank you. My name is Sharayah Jimenez. I go by Shay. I've been working now for 3 years. I started CUADRO as a way to really explore smaller scale projects of residential work. I do all types of, smaller works from, a few public art pieces to all the way up to, multiple residences, lot splitting, and all types of basically smaller residential development. I think the largest project I have right now on the books is eight housing units. So kind of the range from, small additions to also casitas and this type of work. It's different. I was working commercial housing before, so multifamily and public projects, light tech, your typical standard affordable housing types of projects. I got really interested in this type of work because I saw the potential actually to reach even more people, and for this also to be a movement that was owner-led and owner-driven, and a way to activate also other smaller builders, and a very much a localized housing movement that's driven by homeowners as well as our small local builders and tradespeople. And it's been really exciting to see as this ordinance has passed, seeing more and more of those small contractors really want to focus on this type of work, and seeing the networks of people build and develop around this type of housing and other options. So it's been really exciting. Similar to a lot of the things that Corin has mentioned, the successes was, honestly, because these projects are small, we were able to get my first one built pretty quickly. So I'm going to share the screen as well. And I actually started with I actually started too here with model plans. I've been going back and forth now also with our local Habitat for Humanity with Jeff Ocampo. He sent me this drawing. They just created their Chuck Center where they're kind of looking at a semi-prefab system. So it's just an exciting step forward. So we're looking at one of the plans I have and trying to see how we could adapt that plan to this to their system. I'm really open to working with anyone. I think that's been one of the awesome things for me, is just being able to be on my own, just being able to collaborate with a lot of different organizations or nonprofits or homeowners or builders. I'm really open to working with pretty much anyone. So that's been exciting, and part of my work too that I got with Vitalist will be to finalize these plans. I've already had some plan set. So my first plan set, this plan set, I'm already now have permitted 2 of them. The 2 of them are just got complete. And this is kind of a tale. This casita is called the Casita Look For, and it's kind of a tale of 2 plans. It's really interesting because I work a lot with owner builders. As Corin mentioned, this type of housing attracts a lot of owner builders, people who want to do it themselves. We very much have that kind of culture here in Arizona. I think that's pretty unique across Arizona. And so basically, I have that group of homeowners who, I'm helping them with the design and permitting, and helping them, with questions along the way. But then I also have, my other group of clients who want to just hire a licensed general contractor and work that way. So, but basically this plan set has been really attractive to owner builders because it's super tiny. It's 200 square feet, and falls within the category of a tiny house, actually, which is even another topic than just ADUs and casitas. But this one, the first team who took this on, they were under construction for, it's been just over a year. And this was an owner build team. They had a lot of community, were able to organize volunteers and get this built themselves for, you know, a pretty affordable price. And then I have the same plan that was built by a general contractor for another client. And that project was built in half the time, but probably twice the cost. So that's the relationship when you're considering building. It's, you know, time and money. Yes, you're gonna save maybe half to 30%, I tell clients, of the money if you try to do this project yourself, but you're absolutely not going to save any time. You're going to have to double or maybe triple the amount of time. And it's almost the inverse relationship if you hire a licensed general contractor. So those are the points to consider, I think, also when when you're starting to dig into the nitty-gritty of implementing and who do I hire and what kind of project is this going to be. But being able to accommodate the owner builders, I think, is really important. And if you exclude that group, you're missing out on a huge segment of the market. So, and I work with anybody. I'm really flexible myself. So I try to accommodate all types of projects that come through the door. And so this 200 square feet, like I said, if you hire a general contractor, you can get this type of project done in 3 or 4 months. So the speed, the rapid deployment, and still relative affordability for what is basically an independent housing type is incredible. And I will say these small projects, these are going to come in, you know, when we talk about light tech, because I've done light tech, been in those conversations. Those projects are coming in around $300,000 a door, you know, per unit. You can build something like this for literally, you know, the range is maybe 45, you know, if you're doing it yourself, 45,000 up to maybe like 70, 75 if you're hiring a licensed general contractor. So again, but it's still a quarter, you know, that's still a third or a quarter of the price of what it's costing to build public housing. So this is still a really important opportunity, incredible to me, development and need. This was actually the first one that I started with. This was a little 500 square foot unit. It has a loft, and we were able to get this. The contractor was able to get this done in like 5.5, 6 months. And yeah, turned out really nice, really contextual with the neighborhood. It was a really fun little job. And this one just went smoothly. It was just the different, the teams that get the projects done faster, obviously working with the licensed general contractor, which is, again, the fastest way to go. You're gonna pay more, but it's, you have to balance the cost of your time. So, and then the last one here was a kind of on the larger end of what I see the market can bear, which is this one was just under 1,000 square feet. We added a ton of outdoor living space. It's got a roof deck. It has a beautiful Arizona room. Lots of ways that in the design we're trying to accommodate for the small space and create more spaces by obviously the outdoor living. And here in Arizona, we have this is just a beautiful climate where we can be outside most of the year just with some shade. So this was a project that's and a lot of this is still this one was at the time still roughly under construction. I still have to go back and get final photography, but it's been really great. I think the successes have just been for me, the demand. I cannot believe the demand. I have heard other affordable housing folks in Arizona say they didn't think that there was a market or demand for this type of unit, and that is absolutely not what I'm seeing at all. I don't know. The calls just keep coming. I could not believe that, especially once the floodgates opened for ADUs, it just has been nonstop. I think just also because of the economic conditions right now, the fact that interest rates are high and people aren't moving, all these conditions are just creating this this possibility for people to stay in place and to just expand, basically. So that's what I'm seeing. And the pandemic only exacerbated that entire economic situation. So and then I think, the challenges obviously have still been with planning and zoning, and less on the planning side and more on development services. If I'm being very specific, Tucson, and we have some conditions here locally that are unique. Tucson just recently converted to an all online system, which has been a challenge for people to make that leap and jump. And and review times are just, it's just not a good, not such a great situation. But I think that, and then just flexibility. For me, what's hard about these projects is that every project is unique. Every site is different. Every, the utilities, what people already have built in their backyards, the vegetation, like there's so many constraints already just on a site, then to add another layer of constraint with the zoning and then another layer of constraint with the building code, you find yourself in this position where you're very much locked in. And so it's hard to move or to find that creative solution. So yeah. So to me, the zoning and development services continue to be a challenge. And it's just taking a long time to get through that process. It's taking actually longer to get through the design and permitting than it is to actually build the project. So when all is said and done, if I'm lucky, we've taken about the same amount of time to get through design and permitting as it is to build. But if I'm not lucky, we're taking, more time actually in the design and permitting than construction, which seems a little bit backwards. So those have been the challenges. And I'm going to stop sharing now because that's all I've got.
Well, we thank you, appreciate it, and those are great designs. And yeah, we've definitely heard that permitting process is always one of the more difficult obstacles with any development. But I love the way you've set up here as far as the design. So let me ask you, as far as the feedback, and I know you had touched base on it. What are your clients, what are families relaying to you? I know you said it's a very popular demand is there, but when it comes to the the use of these, the need for these, what are you hearing from people that reach out to you?
Yeah, it's all over the map. I mean, the majority is for families. So I have one client right now who is, and a lot of my clients are family friends or community members, people I've known and been really blessed and supported in this way. But it was, some friends who their parents, had sold their home in Mexico, and they sold like right before the pandemic hit and the demand just spiked. And, trying to find any housing here in Tucson that's existing that still is in need of work, right? A lot of the older housing stock, that a lot of them still need major improvements and upgrades, are selling for 300, 400,000. So how are you going to finance that house and then pay for whatever, improvements you want to make? It's just insane right now. And so, so really for this family, like, they were basically priced out of the market, but they had some cash and they knew they could do something with the money they had. So as a family, they had made a decision to, to have the parents come live here in the States on their son's property. And so so we're going to be able to build, I think the first quote came in right around 190,000, a 2-bed, 1-bath. It's going to be a brand new build, a brand new building with no problems. That, again, for just 2/3 the price of what the market can bear right now, it really just makes a lot of economic sense. And so I'm seeing that a lot, the need for housing older adults and parents and family members. But then I also see just the what I call sort of the entrepreneur, hustle culture where people are renting these out through Airbnb. I mean, that's just a reality of my clients. That's still a really small percentage. And then there's like the other big group, outside of family, I would say is, people who just want flexibility. They want a guest house. They want a place to have family. They want to, maybe this will be my future son's college. Instead of college dorm, they'll be here in my property, or or it's gonna be, or yeah, maybe I'll rent it long term down the road, but I just really need the extra space. Again, a lot of especially in the urban core of Tucson, the older housing stock is small. I mean, a lot of the homes are somewhere between 800 and 1,000 square feet, maybe 1,200 if you're lucky, you have a 1,200 square foot 3-bed. But most of the older housing stock, a lot of it has not been improved. And the current expectation, if you look at what people are buying, the major home builders are not building anything less really than 2,000 square feet. So you have that deficit of need of what people are expecting in terms of space and expansion, and then what's existing. And so and then again, just because of how slow the new housing market production has been, there just aren't a lot of options out there. So this really provides again that kind of in between where you're not maybe able to afford the brand new housing development, but you have an existing home with some equity and you can make a project happen. So I think there's a really huge need for this, and a lot of people, especially in the generation that are getting close to retiring, that's another huge need on the entrepreneurial side, is the generation of folks who are close to retirement and haven't fully built their nest egg yet. Those folks really are looking for ways to supplement their income. And so again, that's why this whole argument of, well, can they be rented? Can they not be rented? It's not a cut and dry situation. There are so many reasons why people need that extra cash or income and flexibility to be able to rent and to supplement their retirement, or just want to be able to make some extra money. So I really think that this is a way for people to age in place, to stay in their neighborhoods. It supports, to me, really all the great things about being in a neighborhood and having housing stability.
I appreciate that. I think so. You touched on an important aspect, and I'm hoping you can elaborate a little bit more. So as far as affordability, we know ADUs and tiny homes will diversify the housing stock in a particular location, but we also hope that comes with affordability and affordability ranges. You touched on that. Where do you see the future for CUADRO and these types of housing developments when it comes to affordability? How do you project that out? What are you hoping to see for affordability ranges?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on that right now with some of the contractors I work with. I mean, for me, having a relationship with builders is really important. So, and really checking in with them about what can we do, where can we cut costs in the design, how can we put out something more simple. And so, right now I'm doing a lot of custom design work, and that's pretty much just how it goes. Our market's a little bit different in Tucson, where, we still have a relatively affordable, building economy, relative to other cities and other places. And so, basically, where I'm trying to go with it next is, develop the model plans, cut the costs where we can, vet them with the contractors. In a lot of cases, we're just going to have to go conventional construction. I mean, the reality is, like, prefab is just, I mean, I'm optimistic that maybe somebody will figure out prefab for Arizona, but it hasn't happened yet. So really the most economical option is still conventional construction. And so with a lot of these smaller units, I've had clients and we've been excited about trying new things or trying different things. But basically, if I take some of my plans and just make them conventional construction, we can automatically off the bat save a lot of money. So that's the next reality, is just standardizing the plans, making them more in line with what our market can bear, and and getting those out to the public. Yeah, I have some other ideas too, I've talked to the contractors too about, especially because we have this group of owner builders who maybe can potentially do some of the work themselves to save money. We've talked about maybe for some plans offering more of like a shell, maybe just a simple box with, less developed in the plan, so that can be finished by the homeowner. And and then to have like shell pricing where they're going to take you through up to a certain point, and then kind of do a handoff with the homeowner where maybe you finish the cabinets and the flooring, and but we basically got you dried in and covered all your structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So there's some of the other ideas we've been talking about, but I think where I see the most potential really for affordability is this blend of like, how do you work with the efficiency of a general contractor, but also knowing that the homeowner maybe has some skills and can bring in friends or family to finish up, some aspects of the project. So I really think that seems to be the best path forward for our market in Tucson. And yeah, I've been kind of exploring both sides to really see how I can make the system work a little bit better. But yeah, those are just, things that are evolving now. So
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Really getting back to the it takes a village aspect. To that, I like that. And you had mentioned some of the other things with prefab. So just for everybody listening in, we'll have additional of these recordings. We highlight some of the prefab manufactured housing in our report. So we'll have some of those recordings in the future for that. Right now, I'd love to thank Shay and Corinne for being with us and giving us some insight on the amazing ordinances and the great design, amazing projects that they're working on. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.